Here? Oh, here? Are you gonna do this yet?
Okay, so first we install these tackless strips. You install them a fingertip away from the wall. You follow the contour of the wall. And that's where you're going to be tucking your carpet. Then you install the padding. Make sure that the nails are facing towards the wall. If you turn it this way, well, it's not going to stretch. It'll just pull right off. Like this, it holds them in place. Let me see the slap hammer. This is over the padding a little bit. Yeah, the wall bends out a little bit here.
You need a knife?
No.
You got it?
You make sure you're not over the top of your tackless strips. All right, that's it. Ready to bring the carpet in. Okay, so here's the carpet in the room. You have to position the rug. An important part of installing the carpet has a grain. That way's rough, that way's smooth. You have to determine the grain of the rug depending on how it goes into the room. All right, so when you install a carpet, you always have to have the grain brushing in. That's how you're looking at the true color. The grain brushing in, that's the true color. That you look at it and it looks like this. The other way, where the pile is flattened down, all you see is shiny and the color's diminished. Like this.
With the grain.
Like this is smooth. You always have to have the grain walking in. So when you brush it, that's the way you see it from the doorway. All right, in this case, the rug's got to be re-rolled so I could start in this back corner. Okay, so what we did was we turned the rug around. The rug is rolling this way. You'll need that for stretching the carpet. You'll need this for tucking the carpet. If you got your hands on one of those, that's good for tucking the rug too. All right, you find a place to start from, like a corner that you could tuck in. Then you're going to start stretching.
Once you put...
All right, so you start in the corner. You start in the corner. Here's a carpet staple gun. Has a narrow crown staple. You use these sparingly against walls if you need them to keep them in place.
What happened? It went off and I'm still going.
Position it well, make sure you like it. If you can, and you get a straight wall, you make it so you can tuck as much as you can, where you're making that many less cuts. But carpets come from Home Depot, they're never cut straight, they're always on a crazy angle. Yeah, come and see this, G. This isn't bad for Home Depot when they cut them off the roll, but it's not unusual for the rug to be 1, 2, 3, 6 inches out of square. Make sure it reaches everywhere.
Go figure.
Make your release cuts, you leave plenty of room. Make your release cuts, leave plenty of room so you can cut it again. Okay, boom, that reaches there. Keep fine tuning it so you can tuck it in. You tuck it between the tackless and the wall. Give it another kick to set it in there. Push it on the pins. Heard that noise? That's the sound of the pins going into the backing. Alright, so you get a close shot of me cutting and tucking this. Probably can stand right there and you can see it, right? Alright, then take a look at that. Make sure that you reach. You push it in and you crease it real good. Use one or other of these tools. Make sure you crease it. Helps you establish the line where you're going to cut it. I'm underneath the molding right now. I'm not actually cutting on the molding. They use wall trimmers for cutting these, but this is an apartment. The molding's a little bit off the ground, you can see. You can get under there, so I'm not cutting on the person's molding. That's a no-no. Don't cut the molding. All right, good. It's just about ready to have your first corner set. Same thing like before, you kick it back up onto the pins, and in this case it's nice, it goes under the molding. That makes it a little bit easier also. And you can go under the molding, you go under the molding, under the molding, under the molding.
It doesn't happen much.
It doesn't happen much that the molding is up, but when it is, you take it, boom, kick it under the molding, onto the pins. Get under the molding onto the pins. Okay, next we're going to do the side stretch. After you set your first corner, you get ready for your side stretch. Here, shoot it from like a little bit of an angle. Get your tools, move over to the side wall. Make sure you're not plumbing. And you find out how much you need for the sidewall and you cut the extra off. Always leave more than you need. You're going to be trimming it anyhow, so. Good. I got an inch up the wall, that's fine, or 2 inches, whatever. Don't cut it short. We're going to have to jump that bed over once I do this.
Yeah, I know.
All right, good. Let's get our side stretch going. It's all tucked in over there. Now I have over here, the pins are facing towards the wall. When I kick it, it's going to hold it in place. Boom, there. Make sure it stays on the pins. Cut it. Boom. Tuck it. And you got your first initial side stretch going on. All right, you can shut it off. I'll do some more as we go up there. Okay, next. Hold on one sec. I'm going to cut this piece off. So, now the rug's sitting like this. We're going into the hallway now. Gee, you want to tack and pad this while I mess with the rest?
Yeah.
All right, so we're going to install the tackless and padding all throughout this like we did in the room. You're getting ready to join that to the
How close did you go? Pretty close?
fingertip. I'm going to make a release cut here for the closet. We're not doing the closet in this case. Otherwise I'd let it fall in there and I would take the door off the hinges like I did here. All right, good. Now it's time to deal with this doorway. I'm going to do a turn and tack. Turn and tack is when you turn the rug under and you staple it and it makes a finished edge. Go ahead, plan. Usually the funnest part of this is getting the door over the carpet, but in this case there's miles, Sometimes the door is tight, you got to take it off. It's a wrestling match. Installing carpet is basically a wrestling match the whole time. Alright, tuck it as much under the door as you can. Then you open the door. Ah, wow, the door's stuck. Customer's clothes jammed in the closet. That's fine. Alright, turn and tack. So, you make your cuts outside of the doorway, inside of the doorway. Eyeball it, make sure it's straight. There's your padding, here's the carpet. You turn it under an equal amount so it's just touching the padding. Now you're starting to make a turn and tack. Boom. Make sure it's even with the door frame. Can you see that? Can you see that? I could fit my finger there. I could fit my finger there. That's good. You always want to make sure your turn and tack is inside where the door closes. Then get ready with your staple gun. Your staples in it. Make sure you're nice and straight. Now this establishes a big part of the stretch for the room, so you got to make sure you're not plumbing again. Kick it. Kick with this part of your leg on the padding. It looks kind of brutal. It's not a big deal. Kneeling hurts more than kicking this. Alright, good. Show them how I turn and tack. Ready with the staples? Then you got the rug like this. Boom. You hide the staple between the fibers. Boom. Like I say, this is a Home Depot off-the-shelf carpet. Nothing wrong with it. I love installing it. It's easy to stretch. It's available. And for apartment situations, why not? Most carpets are disposable anyways. They're just sponges on the ground. Whether you pay $10,000 or $500, it's still just a sponge on the ground. It's going to get dirty. Some folks can treat a rug nice, make it last for years. But even dust just settles down in it. Okay, that's all installed. Go back over here. And now you can tuck your whole sidewall in, because the sidewall is now tight. The sidewall is now stretched tight. Here we are with that molding that's raised off the floor so nicely for us. I know there's a cable wire somewhere.
It's the black one is there. See it?
Not yet, but I feel it. There's the cable wire. It's always fun when you put something under the rug. Make sure you don't leave carpet scraps underneath your rug. Silly things like that. You step back, you're so proud of the install, and then you feel a lump under it.
Padding scraps as well.
And there's a padding strap under there. That's a load of fun. You got to pull up half the room. Sometimes it's even worse than that. You got to take the padding scrap out. So a lot of fun adjectives were used when that happened. Sometimes even verbs. Okay. Now we kick this back in under there. It's all a matter of setting walls and stretching against them. Setting and stretching against. Now I'm going to set this and stretch against with a diagonal idea. Setting and stretching away from it. Now I make sure this goes on the pins. On the pins. Some guys are so proud about how fast they can do it. Well, I've been doing this for 30 years and I'm not in a race. Installing for stores, yeah, you got to do it fast. Otherwise you'll be leaving at 8 in the morning and coming home at 8 in the morning. 8 in the evening, I should say. Then again, I have had to do whole houses before people come home with their moving truck, but that's not so common anymore. People mostly do their wood floors now with just 1 or 2 rooms of carpet. Boom. All right, G, show. Okay, here we go. Going to do release cuts. I'm going to make this big square piece drop into here without making a seam so that it could reach the living room, which is over here. I'll be doing that room next. All right, so let's do release cuts. Release cuts are not too tricky, but they're important because if you mess them up, here, stand over my shoulder right there. Go a little bit in from the door frame, allowing for the rug to move. Go like that. Go like this. Boom. Same thing over here. Now, I know I'm going to be stretching the rug this way, so it's not so important that, but you always leave a little extra, no matter what. It's just a good idea. Okay, there's that. And do this. All the way down the wall.
All the way across.
You don't cut too much because it won't reach on the other side of the wall. You got to leave just enough for the thickness of the wall. This piece of rug is going to be tucking on the other side of the hallway. Okay. Now, stay there for a second. I'll do a stretch. Now you're basically ready to do some stretching on this. Come back to this corner again. Make sure you're set in real well. That reach is good. Make sure this stays where you want it. Same thing like a turning tack. Between the fibers. Between the fibers. All right, good. I can't stretch away from this until it's tucked, so let's get this tucked. We started over here, now we're going to make sure this whole wall is tucked real nice. Make sure this wall is tucked nice, and then you can stretch away from it. Boom. Staple it for good measure. Do the back wall so it doesn't move. Okay, this looks like hell if you don't hide your staples. I'm hiding my staples. Technically, you're not supposed to use staples, but in the practical world, this is not a very expensive rug. If you had a carpet that was expensive, designer carpet, you would not be using staples, that's for sure, but for the most part, somebody that's installing high-end designer rug is not looking at an easy tutorial how to install this simple Home Depot carpet. Staples are okay with rug like this. Boom, tuck this in. Good. All right, now we're going to do a big stretch. Now I got it attached at the end. Boom.
Make sure no one's standing on the carpet behind them.
That's okay. No plumbing. At least for the videos. When you're alone, who cares? Alright, now you get ready. Make sure you got carpet nice and free. Show that bubble that's there, G. See it? See the bubble in the rug?
Go ahead. Best I can do.
stretch it onto the pins and it stays stuck there. Onto the pins, it stays stuck there. We've got another cable wire. Oh, it's way over there.
Yes.
Boom. Okay. You go back and you give it a second stretch. Good. Onto the pins. Onto the pins. Boom. Make sure it's stuck on the pins. Come see the cut. Scribe it into the corner. Scribe it into the corner. Thank you.
Here's your hook.
There. When you hear that, you know it's on the pins. There, that's creased in there nicely. It's stuck on the pins, ready to be tucked. Stays between the tackless and the wall with that distance that you left from your fingertip. Fingertip distance. Sometimes this works good. It's a matter of preference with the installer. I like using the hook knife. And that's it. Let me see the. Now I'm going to finish the room using the same method. So I'm going to stretch against it over here, and I'll start filming when I drop this through into the hallway. Film this from here. Now we're going to push this through into the hallway. So I put it back like this. Boom. We get ready for another wrestling match. The backing of this rug is kind of sharp too, so make sure we're not plumbing. Here we go. Kidding when I say wrestling match. Yeah, that's more or less the idea. Then I'm going to pull it flat.
Good. Good.
Good, we're in. This guy to go
Got to
flat.
cut here. You should cut this.
Good. Leave it like
Got it?
Yeah. It's fine.
I'm gonna trim the piece.
Hold on there, Hercules. Here, back it up a little. Alright, now I'm going to let it drop this way down this hallway. Make my release cut. Now it goes this way. Okay, don't kick it hard. Boom. Got plenty of excess everywhere. And it's a matter of stretching from your points again. I got this, I got it. Stay there for a sec. I'll give it a few kicks so I show how it stretches down the hallway.
You gotta make your release cuts.
Yeah, I gotta fix up my release cuts now. Boom. That's pretty happy. That's pretty happy. Okay, so knock it down the hallway. Tell me when it gets flat.
Good.
Hold on, hold on.
Probably need another release cut though, a little more release. You gotta release this, Jay.
That's fine, I'll come back for that. I got to install this anyway, so when I stretch that, it'll get tight. We're good. So that's how you pull it through a doorway. All right, G, you can shut it off. Okay, this area is installed. Getting ready to move over to here and detach the living room. Go ahead. Good demonstration, G, of how to stretch the padding. Good job on that.
Only staples over there?
Hold on, homie. Your padding kicked away over here.
Oh, did it? Oh,
Yeah, I think you're out of staples. All right.
I know, I need some. I need to back that one.
All right, this area is installed. I left this so I could stretch after I make that seam. All right, good.
They're not PGMs.
All right, so we got a bunch of furniture in this room. I rolled the rug out lengthwise and I folded it in half. This way I can install this half of the room, jump the furniture over, and then pad the other side and install that. I'll be making a seam right here in this doorway in a little while. I'll show you how to make a seam in a minute. This is just an install like I did in the other room. You start in that corner, tuck the corner in tight, stretch it up here, tuck it in tight, install this side wall, leave about 3 feet of this wall undone because you're going to be stretching away from your seam. And all right, I'll be back in a minute. All right, now I'm going to jump the furniture over. It's stretched down there. I put this whole side wall in. Actually, I stretched it up there. I tucked it down there. All right, let's hop the furniture over. We'll do the other side. All right, we jump the furniture over, put the padding on that side. Now I'm going to install this. Next thing I do, I stretch into this corner. So I make it tight across this wall. Then I cut and I install all of this. Then my next place, I'll go stretch over there, make the room tight. Then I'll stretch this whole sidewall going this direction. I'll do a turn and tack in this doorway, turn and tack in this doorway, turn and tack at that. I like doing turn and tacks because you don't have tackless that can prick your feet. As we mentioned before, that's the tackless, and it has nails in it. It pricks your feet if it's in doorways. And I'll show you when I make a seam. It's not ideal that a seam falls in the doorway, but there's no practical spot to put it otherwise. The rug wouldn't have reached to pass the doorway, so I'll make an exceptionally good seam in the doorway here that will last for the life of the carpet. All right, be back in a minute. I'm going to install there first, then that back wall, this top wall, and then the side wall. All right, so I cut the seam. I cut the seam by, first I put a straight edge. I put a straight edge and I cut this side. Then I laid it over the top of this rug. And I use this tool and I cut along it. And now the two pieces go together perfect. Now I have my seaming tape placed in the middle of it. Getting ready to put my seaming iron under it to melt the tape.
You got a light on there now? Still no light.
Is it plugged in?
Yeah, of course.
Oh.
There's no light on in there?
Yeah.
Does it feel like it's getting hot?
Yeah, let's make a seam. You ready? Too close.
No, I'm perfect.
Yeah?
Perfect, yeah.
Okay. All right, so you take the seaming iron, you melt it on 3. I don't know what that means, but 3 works good. Maybe it's 300, I don't know. But 3 works good. 4 is too hot, you burn the tape. 2 is too cold, doesn't work. I like 3. Sometimes you heat it up on 3 and then you move it down. You heat it up on 4, then you move it down to 3 until the light goes off and you're good. Then you start sliding and you see if it's melting the tape behind it, which not yet. It's got to leave a melted string of glue. It's basically hot glue on a tape. It's hot glue. Pump it up to 4 if it's not melting good. Really matters on a longer seam, I would say. Right, there we go. Put it down on 3.
When it starts smelling, it's melting, it slides
easier. If it's smoking, that's usually a sign it's too hot.
Here.
Make sure that the backings touch nicely. No, I don't need that.
I think you did with a frisette.
There you go. You make sure it's embedded in the glue real good. Go nice and slow. I can feel how it's sliding, that it's melting the glue properly. All right, G, slide that box on top. Then use something heavy to hold it down. Once this tape is cold, that means it's set. So you leave this on here for like 10 minutes. You rub that so it's in the glue embedded real good. You come back and you trim any hairs that are sticking out. Make sure that this black line stays centered in your seam. Especially since this is in a doorway, I gotta make an extra good seam. What's helping hold the seam together is that I'm turning and tacking it on both sides, so it's getting stapled on both sides. That helps it to stay secure. Yeah, that smoke detector's been beeping all day. You think probably not even working, otherwise it should have went off with the smell of this glue. Hold on, this isn't melted yet.
Yeah, make sure you lift it up at the end. You don't burn anything else.
All right, here, get this stinky thing out of here. Thank you. Okay, so we're vacuuming up. Job looks nice. Seam looks great. Trimmed all the loose hairs on it. Yeah, seam is great, seam is tight. It's not going anywhere. There's the hallway. Turned and tacked at both of these doorways and at this bathroom doorway. Pulled it through this doorway. And here's the bedroom. And that's what a day of carpet installation is like. Yeehaw.